5 with my cohorts, co-captain Eric Larson. Say hello, Eric.
Hey, guys.
And Chief Technical Officer and our wingman and all-around good guy, First Officer Dieter Stoudinger up in Toronto. We're all in lockdown. That would be something that I wouldn't want to necessarily own if it weren't for the times. And the gifts just keep on giving, don't they? The biggest thing that I can use to describe what's going on is it's surreal to me. It just doesn't seem real. And I'm not telling you all anything. This last week, I had one of my neighbors knows someone who died from the COVID-19. So that's the closest I've gotten to it so far. I hope that it selfishly doesn't get any closer to me, but one never knows. And I've been taking it more seriously. I've got a 94-year-old mom who lives with me, and that's high in my priorities, not to infect her. And I noticed I had a little bit of maybe mild arrogance. I'm 72 and in pretty good shape, if I do say so myself, in really good health. I've got all my original parts. Matter of fact, I don't know if Diane's on tonight, but Diane is similarly configured, and I hope that's a flattering term to Diane. And we were discussing this last week. She was trying to make a decision whether or not she would take a leave of absence, which she ended up doing. But we were both saying, we both shared the feelings that we're healthy, and we kind of felt kind of frisky about the whole thing. And then it just continues to prevail. And I realized really how powerless and out of control that we really are when it comes to that. That's a feeling that many of you, if you have a fear of flying, could identify with strongly. And so feelings of not being in control. So I'm going to try to model for you my own episodes of not being in control, or what you can do with that. And we're going to be a little bit of a history here. I started my participation in 1987. I've told this story many times over the years. There was a psychologist here in the Scottsdale area who was starting a fear of flying class. And I had a friend who had preceded me at America West Airlines, which is the airline that I joined after the other airline I used to belong to, went through bankruptcy and liquidated. So when I came down here after a short period of time, this friend of mine was the employee assistance director, and he had occasion to refer company employees to various psychologists and therapists throughout the valley, the Phoenix area here, for mental health services. And he came to me one day and he says, "Hey, Ron, I got a friend who's a psychologist who's going to start a fear flying program, and he's looking for a pilot. Would you be interested?" And I gave it a little bit of thought. I didn't have any reason not to. It seemed interesting to me. I had no experience in psychology other than taking Psych 101 when I was at the Air Force Academy. So I said, sure, let's do it. So I went, and the first night I participated was in August of 1987. And Jack did the intro, and then he put me on for 2 hours for a Q&A with people. And I was hooked from that time on. I was touched. I am an emotional person. I connect with people. I build rapport rather easily. But I was really moved by the courage of these people to come in and share their feelings and their anxiety with me, a complete stranger. And that's what got me started. And I've been doing this ever since. We went on through 87, we got into 1991, and lo and behold, America West Airlines went into bankruptcy, went through Chapter 11. There hasn't been an airline that I haven't worked for. I worked for 3 in my career, and 1, 2, 3, 4 actually in my career, and they've all been bankrupt at least once, and one of them went out twice. So I couldn't have picked a more inopportune times, and I'm grateful. I'm always grateful, but I'm still grateful for the opportunities that I had to fly airplanes and get paid for it, and it was a great job. But it was one that was kind of elusive in terms of the incomes and stuff that people had made in the past. And as Eric can attest, they've just been robustly coming back over this last 5 years now. And to go through this is really kind of sad in a lot of ways, because the airlines have really struggled over the last 40 years, really. Go ahead, Eric.
I don't want to mess your stream of consciousness up, but have we ever told the people in class the definition of a real airline pilot?
No.
Was forced into commuting at least once out of base, and has been furloughed at least one time.
Yeah.
And if you haven't done at least those two things.
So explain those. What does it mean to be forced out of base?
So we all have that airlines have multiple bases that they operate from, hubs that we fly in and out of, and many of them are crew bases where flight attendants and pilots live, and they begin and finish, they start and finish their trips there, and that's called a base. Well, from time to time, depending on marketing and flying and that kind of thing, the companies will open and close bases. And if you happen to wake up one Monday morning and see in the paper that there's been a flying schedule realignment, and your base is a hub, the airplanes come in and out, still come in and out, but it's no longer a crew base. You just found out that you're now reporting for work somewhere hundreds of miles away, and it's on you to get there. So your life just got a lot tougher. So that's what we call being forced out of base. And the other one, furloughed, which is airline parlance for fired, except for they can unfire you when things get better. We said the definition of a real pilot is at least forced out of base once and at least furloughed one time, where they're unemployed until such time as the airline can turn around and call people back.
Some of my duties at America West serendipitously were involved in psychology as well. I've touched on one of the major improvements in airline safety over the past 30 years now has been something called human factors, where we started as part of the curriculum a kind of an introductory course in studying work groups and the psychology of work groups, because crews, which it was originally implemented to help pilots work better with each other, because we found that while we are the safest way to travel on Earth, when we do have accidents, about 2/3 of the time it's related to human factors, where the pilots who are the last ones in the chain leading up to an accident, it could be other personnel, other human beings, mechanics make mistakes and things like that, but we're often the last ones that can make the difference that might prevent the accident. And so the airlines began to recognize that. A very astute member of the National Transportation Safety Board changed the direction. And so we started teaching that. So on the one, so it was, instead of just having one dream job, teaching people how to overcome their fear of flying, simultaneously, I got to teach pilots about how to play nicer together and how to be more effective as crew members. And so they complemented each other. And that's really pretty much the way I spent the rest of my career. I was very, very fortunate to do that. And I love teaching. So those things went hand in hand. In 1991, I mentioned we went through Chapter 11 at America West, and the program went through various changes, the Fear of Flying program with Jack and I, and we got back into full speed, up to full speed, about the same time as the airline, but the airline no longer sponsored the program like they did in the first 4 years of it before the bankruptcy. So I began to supplement my role in the class and help Jack out a lot, because I knew the people in the company and all that. And so we started to expand that. And then in January of 2000, Jack was so busy that for the first time, he couldn't come and co-teach with me, because we were teaching together by that point. And so I took over the class, and then within the next 2 months, he said, "Hey, would you like to just continue on your own? Because my practice has become too busy, and I can't manage it I don't have the time that I used to." So that's when I took over, and it was a really, really cool thing. And leading up to that, because of the fact that I was being allowed to grow in the area of psychology and counseling. Through the 90s, I was able to get a master's degree in professional counseling with a certificate of advanced studies in human factors and human resources. And so that was a dream that I never thought I would attain. And so in 2000, when Jack asked me, I took over the program and we began to reinstate classes, not only on occasion. We used to do them about every quarter. I started them every month. And then I put back into the program where we actually went and flew every so often, which is the way it's been up until just recently when we all got hit by this COVID-19 thing. And I don't remember exactly, I put a date down here. I think it was about 2002 when I met Eric. I met him first because we both worked for America West Airlines, and we met at work. He was involved as a liaison for training between the training department and the pilots on the line, and he helped people when they had problems and helped get them resources and did that. And we were thrown together for a couple of events, and he was curious about what this fear of flying thing was. So he made the mistake of coming to one of the classes, and he got involved. And he's been involved pretty much the whole time since that. A couple of breaks there while he was upgrading and doing some things like that. I guess you're there. I might as well give you a chance to comment on that. What it was like for you, maybe the first time you came to the class or something like that.
Yeah, it's the high point for me of seeing everyone personally that comes to class, that comes to our 201s and our 301s, that we actually get people on the airplane. And I think we're batting in the 900s. Percentage wise, and the average in the class will run around 20 years in terms of length of time that people have not got on an airplane. It ruins their life, and to see people wrestle their demons back in the closet, and the joy on their face when they get on the airplane, it's a pretty emotional thing. And we're instead of selling swampland in somewhere where they can't actually hold title to it, we're giving people something they really want and need, because it is fouling up their lives horribly to not be able to fly. So it's immensely personally rewarding.
Yeah.
And I got off from it. I'm just laughing. I was going to tell you, all the players, but I wondered when they would notice. I took a permanent leave of absence, so we can talk about another show. That's why I fixed my name tag. But the real chief pilot, the administrative assistants in the chief pilot's office, just hit me with a list of, oh, by the way, we know you have some of our stuff, and don't lie to us about how you lost it. You better bring it back in here.
So these are prized artifacts like ID, yeah, publications, iPad.
Yes, the iPad, yeah. The charger. The killer is the thing that lets me go through the secret passageway like I'm a real guy. That's got to go. And like, ooh, and then my
so you're locked up for a minute.
Yeah, my parking pass.
Parking. Oh yeah. All those little things. So anyway, so we're yeah. So he's confessed that he's interested in staying involved, and I'm going to do my best to get him more involved, which is part of where this is going down the road here. So Eric came and joined me, and he's been with me off and on since that time. In 2004, well, I guess I should go through my retirement. In 2007, I turned 60, and at that time, that was the mandatory retirement age. I wasn't ready. It's frustrating when you're earning the most money you've ever earned annually in your life, and they say sayonara. You don't. It wasn't an option. 6 months and 13 days later, they raised the age to 65, which would have netted me about another $1 million in the other 5 years. But who's counting? And people ask me, how did you take that? And I said, well, better than the guy who was born the day before they changed the rule. So anyway, so I was forced into retirement. Up until that time, the reason that's significant to me is that I never ever charged anything to people for classes and stuff. I probably had an issue in that area, but I really enjoyed doing it. bona fide, genuinely enjoyed working with people. And so that's just the way it was. When I got to retirement, because of all the bankruptcies and the changes in the stripping away of retirement programs that I had counted on, I wasn't as well off on a day-to-day basis as I was prior to retiring. And so I began to look for ways to monetize it, mainly so that I could continue doing that. The airline itself, my airline merged with US Airways and then American. And through the course of those, the airline, America West and US Air First, I lost the ability to interface with them, with the airplanes and the facilities here in Phoenix. But I was able to hold it 1 second. I've got competition here from my washing machine.
Wow.
We have liftoff speed.
Yeah,
I was wondering
Anyway.
what was happening back there.
Yeah, and the door wasn't latched. My mom's caregiver.
Many airlines
shut the
might
door,
not be
but-
flying, but Ron is taking.
Yeah, she asked me about it, but apparently it wasn't quite latched. But anyway, so where was I? I was talking about
retirement.
Yeah,
and the need to. I wasn't looking mainly so much to make a fortune at it, but I did want to keep from depleting my resources, which I have done somewhat over that. So 2014, I motoring along. I kept picking up people who from time to time who would make the mistake of asking me what I did. One of them was Diane Hansen, who I think is probably on tonight. And Diane was, at the time, she was a navigator, a volunteer at the airport that guides people around, strangers to the airport, and helps them find flights and gates and things like that. And she said, hey, I get people that ask me about your Fair Flying course all the time. Can I come to one? So she came and she got hooked, not unlike Eric did. And anybody who's been involved and sees all of you when you come and how vulnerable you are. And she's been with us ever since that. Both her and Eric have, not only are they unpaid volunteers, but they also pay out of their own pockets when we go flying and I need extra coaches on the airplane. 2017, things took a dramatic turn. I realized that I could not complete some of the goals I had in terms of increasing my presence and taking advantage of the expanding opportunities on the internet. And I needed somebody who had, who shared my kind of heart and sense of community, and also had some skills that I could probably do if I really forced myself. But why? I like teaching. I like working with people. I like the rapport, which I think is what I'm really good at. And so that's when I met Dieter. And shortly after Dieter, there was another student who had gone through, Sue Wiley, who's probably on tonight as well. And Sue had asked me sometime earlier if I ever needed help. She would like to do that. She had a corporate career in training and in instructional system design. And so she joined me as well. I say this with great pride. Dieter is our only paid person. That was until this month. Things have got very lean. We were, and it's ironic because this was going to be a big expansion year. You've heard me promise a lot of things over the last couple of years, but this was really going to be a year that we got the book out last year, which was a big part of that. And we were going to do some bigger and better things this year. And COVID-19 changed that part of my life, not unlike some of the plans that you all had out there. So here's where we're at. You can see the banner over my head there. We're officially canceling that 201 class because one, your heart's not in it, and two, it just isn't working out like we thought. The country and the world really is in a state of flux, and we all need to settle down and see what's going to happen there. That's not going to stop us, however. I'm looking at that as not a fork in the road, but another window of opportunity. We had made the decision to put the 201 class online, and we are going to continue that. but we're going to defer that. There are some people, if you happen to be listening tonight and you had registered for the 201, I am going to contact you personally, and I'm going to do that kind of as a closed group. I don't expect there are many people out there, but if you had any desire and you would like to join this small group of us who are going to do the 201 as a closed coaching group, just send me an email at captainron@fearlessflight.com, and we will put you in the group. I experienced something today through another group that I belong to, and I was shocked. I found some resources in some of the audio conferencing or the video conferencing that I've been using that make it a one hell of a resource. And so you're going to be seeing those down the road here. So that brings us where we are tonight. I love what I do, and I will continue doing it until I can't do it. I won't say die, because that that might invite some other options in there, but I will. I love doing this, and I cannot tell you what it's like to get an email or a text from somebody virtually every day that I've come in contact with. Some people literally 25 years ago that I have no idea who they were or when they came through. And it's just incredible. And if you ever dreamed about doing something that you absolutely love, and you want to talk about what that's like, let me know, because I'll talk your ear off with that. So we are going to be transitioning here to doing some webinars. I mentioned the 201 class. We've got some other plans that we're deep into making because of the change in the mood in the country. And I was talking to Sue and Dieter earlier today. The context that we're all operating under is really something unique. I was here for when Kennedy was shot. I was here when the Cuban Missile Crisis. I was here for 9/11, and the closest thing would be 9/11, but this far surpasses anything with 9/11. And you all know I'm not telling you anything. The economics of it is incredible, and so that's why I've hollered at you all to let up with your control, let up with your you're trying to do it all and solve it all yourself, and ask for help. And I'm going to do the same thing tonight. Like I said, we are going to continue no matter what. But I asked Dieter if he would make up a special page today for donations, and if he wants to flash that up on the screen, I'm gonna I thought of having a cardboard sign here with pilot will fly for food, but I didn't know if you'd see the humor in that. But we have an opportunity here, and we are gonna. You certainly need to feel no obligation. But if you have it in your heart, if you've been touched in any way, we put some options up there for either a one-time donation or a monthly donation, and we'll take whatever you have to offer. The main goal is, as I said, Dieter is my only paid person right now. I've been operating as a nonprofit. That wasn't ultimately my goal, but it turns out that was. But he can't afford to be part of a nonprofit because he has different needs to support himself than I do. So he's hanging in there as long as he can. Mainly any resources that come in right now will go to continue to compensate him so that we could continue on with the plans. Again, whatever you can do, will do. You don't have to do anything. Anything you do will be appreciated. And I do want to thank you all for your support and all the people that have shown up over the years, particularly since Dieter's been here and we've started the Facebook and more of an online presence. It is going to get bigger and better. It sounds corny, but adversity does create opportunities, and I can really see some ways that we can really run a lot leaner than we are. And my goal always was to make it affordable to people and it's not just about fear flying. as you all know, if you know me, it's about fear in general. And my fear is to break out and break down and ask people for help. It's crazy, but no matter what your fears are, this is certainly a time of anxiety, fear, and worry. And matter of fact, that one of the webinars that I'm looking to do in the near future is going to be one purely talking about anxiety, one that you could relate to, and we will make it so that everybody can afford it. My goal is that you don't get turned away because you can't afford something. So we're going to continue in that spirit. And
that's really the key. And I appreciate that you say that, Ron, because, we always remind you guys that the pain in your brain is not about the plane. And so we're in a situation where nobody's flying. And yet, the anxiety level, country by country, continent by continent, has just been ratcheted up to a degree that, that word is almost not novel anymore. It's unprecedented in the sense that how it affects so many people. I mean, the other day, 2 billion people are currently under some kind of restriction and some kind of limitation in terms of their movements, in terms of, what they can and cannot do. I mean, that is just, a quarter of the whole planet. It's powerful. And, I mean, most of the time I handle really just the tech, but the, the reality is there's a lot of people that have also, reached out to us and reached out to me about, what to do with all this anxiety when you snap at your kids and your husband because you're not used to them being in close quarters with you. And it's not that you don't love them, but there's just, all of a sudden there's a whole new normal. And we realized that when we talked to Ron and I, that, this is a perfect opportunity to go deeper into some of these softer skills, if you will, because they really translate into a lot of other areas in our lives. So I hope
it'll come as no surprise, and we've known this individual for less than 2 years, I think, but Jim Duke just was the
Thank
first.
you.
So thanks, Jim.
Thanks a lot.
I can't talk much more. People who know me know that I'm a real chick flick kind of movie guy, and I love getting choked up and stuff. The only thing I hate about it is when I tear up, I can't talk, and that's like worse than death. But anyway, so I'm gonna let go of you all tonight, and I'm gonna thank everybody, Diane in particular, Sue, Dieter, and Eric for helping me out here. And the best is really yet to come. We have no idea how we're going to get there, but we do know that we're going to get there. And with your help and support and love, we'll do it. So I want to thank everybody tonight. And you have any final words there, Eric? You look like you're about
I have one parting health tip to help you get through this. And I have actually seen this in action. Sometimes and not up in Dieter's part of the world, but down here, it's hard to get a CV19 test run if you need one. They're talking about the testing 24/7. If you happen to mention that you know a pilot really well, like us, they'll change their mind really fast and they'll run it right away. And I am not making that up.
Wow.
I've actually seen an infectious disease doctor on the phone with a state. He's a pilot. He's a pilot. They know her husband's a pilot. Run it right now. Go, okay. Yeah, that will help you a lot in testing wise.
So that's the insider knowledge that you get only here.
Yeah, only here. That's the price of admission here. Thanks. So again, thanks everybody. I do hope you stay healthy. Take it seriously. We want to be able to help you through your fear. And keep coming back because we really, really and thank you for all the support over the years and into the future. So thanks a lot. Have a great night, a great week, and stay healthy. Be well.
See you next week.